Good morning, evening, afternoon, night, whatever time you happen to be joining me at. I'm so grateful that you are here. There's something that's been weighing on me recently. I've gotten a lot of questions about how to be more creative, or how is it that you're able to tap into it, because I just feel like I'm not creative. There's this idea of exclusivity around art where a lot of people feel like they are an artist. So let's make one thing clear. Anybody can be an artist. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody is an artist. It means that anybody can be one. I'm going to elaborate on what I mean by this, but first, I want to get into a flow state before I start with anything else today. I'm going to be making a collage. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you grab your water, you're nice and comfy, prepared to receive the blessings that I hope to share with you. Whenever I'm trying to get into a flow state, I find that listening to instrumentals or jazz, I love jazz, it's a big help because it allows for my brain to have some extra space, if that makes sense. It's not trying to fill in the blanks with lyrics. So this record I picked up from Friends of Sound San Antonio. If you live in San Antonio and you want to find a good record store, vintage store, Friends of Sound is definitely the place to be. I love that store. It is so lovely inside. The people are lovely. That's probably the reason why I like it so much, honestly, is the people. Plus, if you're into fashion or if you're trying to up your fashion game, Warehouse and Self Surrender. Mill says you should definitely support small business. So before I start with anything else, I want to introduce this topic by reading the first poem that I ever wrote. Shout out to Filthy Silken Venus, because I read this at an open mic that they held this year, actually April of this year, and this is what motivated me to start experimenting a little bit more with my creative expression. For context, I wrote this in response to something that one of my professors had said, which was, if a 4-year-old can do it, it can't be called art. So it goes like this. What is art? Not to be defined by language, only to be translated by the soul. Not to be perceived by the iris, but to be consumed by the mind's eye. See, if we label art as a complex concept, then we revoke many who create of their creativity. The children learning to hold a crayon, the mothers creating life. See, art isn't something a 4-year-old can't do. It's something a 4-year-old must do. It is not to be labeled then, but to flourish without knowing boundary. So, what is art? It is the output of creative energy. You are, as I am, and we are the artist and the art. I want to go back and tell you guys a little bit about my creative journey. How is it that I got here? It started off, I was an orchestra kid for sure, but even then I wasn't the most creative ever, because obviously in orchestra you're taught to follow the sheet music and never go outside of the box and don't experiment, it's just that kind of thing. I wasn't into fashion for sure. I couldn't dress for shit at all. I could not dress for shit. So I couldn't dress. I don't think it was until like my junior year of high school where I really started to experiment with my self-expression as far as fashion goes. Even then, I wasn't the best dressed in the world, but it was just fun for me to kind of experiment with myself and see where it was that I could take my creative expression, and so I did. I think that's really the biggest thing, is just trying things for fuck's sake, just trying it, because why not? Who's gonna tell you not to try? I don't know why there's so much negative energy surrounding trying. People will knock somebody down for trying something new, even like if their skills aren't as refined, then it's like, you shouldn't be doing this, how did we get to that point, really? So after that, I started getting a little bit of attention for fashion on my social media. I was just kind of playing around with it. And then out of nowhere, I seen this event that was happening downtown San Antonio, and I decided to go. I've always decently liked writing. I never considered myself like a writer, but you don't have to be a writer to write. You don't have to be an artist to create art. So I tried it, and I received some very good feedback that night, and that is exactly why I decided to keep going with it. I continued modeling. I started stepping behind the camera more, and even to this day, there's some other creative endeavors that I have yet to touch yet, but I for sure want to, because why not? Who's gonna tell me that I can't, you know? And so here I am now, and people think it's just this really easy, like it just comes naturally, and really it doesn't. Talent is just a skill that you are willing to refine. If you want to gain a certain type of skill set, all you have to do is work at it. And I forgot, there's like a certain amount of time, I'm gonna look it up, because there's like a certain amount of time where if you start doing something, your brain will create those neural connections. I'm sorry, it's the psychology major in me, but I do have to look it up because now I need to know. Okay, so to create new neural pathways in the brain, it can take at least 3 months of practice, but it depends on the complexity of the activity and the individual themselves. So basically it depends, it's gonna be different for everybody. But if you're really willing to work on it, you're gonna be your biggest limitation. In the words of Ab-Soul, a very wise man,
apply yourself to supply your wealth. Only limitations you ever have are those that you place upon yourself. Church is definitely on the move, know what I'm talking about?
I'm sorry, y'all, I'm a Kendrick Lamar lover. I think in this creative journey, the biggest thing is finding what brings you into that flow state. What is flow? So for those who don't know what flow is, being in a flow state is basically being intensely present because of something that you're doing. Like right now, I'm in a semi-flow state only because I have multiple things going on, but even then, this is something that creating videos and collaging and everything, it's something that takes me very in body. Now, obviously, it's a lot easier said than done to reach this state of flow, especially if you're new to it in a sense. So the biggest thing really is connecting with that inner child. Your inner child is something that you have to kind of feed. You have to honor it. The things that help me tap in, oh, this is such a beautiful page of just flowers. Tapping into that inner child really just means going back to the roots. What is it that you enjoyed doing as a kid, and why did you get disconnected from it? You know, for me, one big thing is coloring books. If you know me, you know I love a good coloring book, specifically because I feed that inner child, and it's so healthy really to just be in that, to just be, period, to be doing something that brings that out of you. And so it doesn't really matter what it is, whatever it is that you enjoyed doing as a child, I say just try it out again. You never know, you know, what it is that you can gain from it. Because I feel like as we've gotten older, we've kind of lost that sense of play, where as a child, right, for the most part, nobody can tell us anything. We were very much like, this is the way things are, and this is how I am, and you can't tell me how I am, you know. And then as we get older, we start feeling shameful. Maybe you tried something one day and somebody told you that it wasn't good, and so you listened to them and you just never touched it again. You never tried it again. Maybe you were singing and a family member told you to shut up. Something as simple as that, and you wouldn't even think about it, but now looking back at it, you realize it really does play a role in the way that you interact with the world or interact with these different skills that you used to have. Like, I used to be in choir also. Whenever I was in 3rd grade or something like that, I was in choir, and I got told that I couldn't sing, and because of that I took that and I was like, oh, I can't sing, and I stopped singing. And I could have been a really good singer if I had gotten encouraged, but because of that, you know, I wouldn't know. Now, looking back on it as an adult, it's like, why not try and do those things again? Because who is going to tell you? Who are you to tell me what I can or can't do? Who are you to say that my self-expression is wrong because you don't enjoy it? You know? Now, obviously, I'm not saying that everybody is a singer. I don't think I'm the best singer in the world, but I'm saying there's no shame in trying. Just try. Who's going to knock? Again, people that knock other people for trying, it's idiotic. It's crazy. Self-expression is so healthy and it's necessary. Like, as humans, it is quite literally necessary. It's the basis of life. We would not be here had we not been created by something, by, you know, whatever it is that you believe in. There was a process that led to you being here and listening to me now. The fact that you're able to comprehend what it is that I'm saying, you know? So just placing your energy elsewhere. We get a lot of this pent up energy in us, and it needs to be released somehow. And whatever ways that is, it's very healthy. That's why creating for me, it's a catharsis, you know, because this collage that I'm making, it doesn't have to be the most beautiful thing in the world, but I'm doing it because it allows me to put whatever it is that's stuck in me elsewhere. I get it out of me. Again, art is just the output of creative energy. You can't say what is or is not art because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if I say that this is beautiful and this means something to me, nobody else can say that this means nothing, that this does not hold value, because I am the artist. And being an artist, it means that I am making something. I am doing something with this pent-up energy inside of me. It does not mean I am the best in the world and I'm this world-renowned artist. No. Anybody can be an artist so long as they allow themselves to be. And then again, you don't have to label yourself as an artist to create. I've met people and they're just like, oh, I'm not the most creative in the world, or I'm not creative. Bullshit. Because most likely, more oftentimes than not, you are. It's just you don't allow yourself to attempt anything. That mural that's in my bathroom, I had people that were at my event. That's another thing too. I feel like some people get intimidated whenever they get around other people that they deem as more creative than them, or these people are so talented and I can't do this, so let me not even try because it's not going to be as good as them. Comparison is really the thief of joy, and that's a very simple blanket statement. I feel like a lot of people know that, but in this specific scenario, touching on this topic, comparing your stuff to other people and what it is that they've created, it's gonna be very difficult for you to be able to just do it without any judgment, you know, judgment from self or whatever it is. It makes it hard, you know, because you're looking at somebody else and it's like, wow, this thing is so beautiful. I can't do that. I don't want to add to it. So yeah, going back to my event, there was some people there that were like, I was like, oh, why don't you paint? Because they were watching us paint, and it's like, why don't you paint? And they said, oh no, I'm not a painter, I'm not creative. Bullshit. Remember when you were a kid and you did the hand turkeys, or you did the little finger paintings, and looking back on it, it looked crazy, but did you not enjoy that? When I say enjoy it, it's because you weren't doing it for the outcome. You were doing it for the process. It's very much a grounding thing to be able to create specifically for the process. Like this, again, this could look like shit when I'm done, but I don't care about the outcome because I enjoy doing this. The process, the entire process is beautiful to me, and that is the reason why I invest my time in doing things like this. To be able to do this though, you also have to be kind of feeding yourself with living material. And when I say living, again, there's this kind of consensus in the present day with brain rot, with things that take away from you, and then you're done looking at it and you just feel so kind of drained, but it's like you get sucked into it and you can't pull yourself out of it. Those things are rotting what could be used in a more healthy way. Living material, which again goes back to the whole thing, if y'all saw my last video with conscious consumption, it's very true. Like, it affects your way of being, because creation really is a way of being. It's focusing on the outcome whenever you're creating, it's not going to make it any better. You're just going to put this kind of self-induced pressure on yourself to do something that's not necessarily serving you. Now, of course, this depends on what realm of creativity you're in. Maybe you're doing something for a commercial and you have this certain standard that you set for yourself, but at the same time, should it not look the way that you thought it did initially when you started on this project, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't. We really are our own biggest critics. We're our own biggest cheerleaders sometimes, you know. But in being your own biggest critic, you can really get into your head if you create something and it doesn't look the way that you intended it to, because you're just looking at it like, wow, I should have done this, and why didn't I do this? But then you take away from what it was that you were doing. This is the reason why I like collaging so much, or painting, because nobody can tell me what this should or should not look like. And even if y'all want to say something about it, even if it's like, oh, this means nothing, it could mean nothing to you, but it means everything to me because I'm doing something with myself. Like, look at that. I just fucked up this tear really bad, and I probably won't be able to use that piece, but you know what? I believe that everything is divine. Like, whatever it is, I trust it. I have a lot of faith in the universe, and faith really just means knowing that no matter what it looks like at any given moment, it's still working in your favor. It doesn't mean that it's not working in your favor. You know? Faith is just trusting. So I trust myself in this process to still, despite how it may look right now, like most of these letters are way too small for what I'm wanting to do, so I'm gonna throw them. And that's okay. That's okay. Because I still know at the end, like, this is still gonna get done, and I'm still gonna enjoy whatever it is that I put out there. I really like this piece that I found, though. I'm debating. I don't know if I want to cut it or if I want to tear it. I think I'm gonna cut it. Let me grab my scissors. So again, I say, it's possible for anybody. You know, you can sit there and be like, I don't have a creative bone in my body, but I trust me, you do. You do. You just have to find ways to pull it out of you. Collaging may not work for everybody. Coloring books may not work for everybody. Maybe you have an old instrument that you used to play and you don't really touch it anymore because you don't have a reason to. Use this as your reason. Use this as your wake-up call, because why? You have this skill and maybe you let it die for a while, but put it to use. You know, you should be proud of the fact that you picked something up. If it's not an instrument, if you're just one of those people where it's like, oh, I have nothing interesting about me at all, try and figure out what it is. Try, again, there's no shame in trying at all. I wanted to try and make this a kind of theme. I don't really know what the theme will be, but I do like this color scheme. I think we have a lot of just pent-up insecurity about the way that our work will be received. And trust me, I understand it too, because I get that way. Like, we're still human, you know. I get that way whenever I put up some of my work. Like, maybe I feel like my work loses value when I don't get the reaction that I thought I would initially. But that doesn't take away from what it is that you did. Just remember that. Even if you were to do something, if you took this and you're inspired and you do something and it's like you got no reaction, it is okay. Remember, you're not doing it in that moment for the reaction. You are doing it for you. Do everything for you. Never do it for anybody else or their perception of you. People are going to judge what they do. They're going to hate what they don't like. You know, humanity can be very, very ugly sometimes in different ways. That doesn't mean that you have to take away from yourself because of them. You hold so much power, and I hope you guys know that. You hold so much power. But you really have to just know that you do. There will always be very ugly, judgmental people in the world, and then there will be the others that should support you no matter what you do. One thing that I believe in, even if you want to try something new, let's say that you're a singer but you don't necessarily songwrite and you want to tap into it and you just don't, and you don't feel like sharing it, don't allow the outside world to dictate what it is that you do or where you place your energy or what it is that you're investing in. The right people will always find you. The right people will always resonate with what it is that you're doing. So never try and cater to an audience that isn't even aligned with you. If you want to try something new and you start losing people left and right because it's like that's not what they thought that you were going to do, let them leave. Let them. Allow them to, please. It's gonna serve you so well to be able to do that, to be able to understand, to understand that the right people will always stand by you regardless of whatever it is that you're doing. When I started moving from modeling to poetry, I did lose a decent amount of my following because it's like they didn't want to hear what it was that I was putting out, and they only really looked at me for the fashion and everything. And at first it's like you can get, like, I did get very butthurt about it because it started making me a little insecure, like, oh my gosh, like these people they don't like what it is that I'm doing. But you know, once I kind of realized that I didn't want people there that didn't enjoy what it was that I was doing with my life, the things that made me happy, if they didn't want to hear the message, good, they weren't meant to. I allow them to go. I take back my peace of mind in doing that because I was never doing it for anybody else. It was always for me. And realizing that, you know, it's very liberating because you stop giving so much of a fuck about anybody else's opinions about you. Because why should anybody else dictate how it is that you live your life, you know? If I start getting into everything else that I want to get into, and I don't want to put too much out there because y'all will see when I do it. If people don't support that, then I could give a fuck less. And you know why? Because at least I will enjoy the person that I'm growing into. We are quite literally put on earth to create. We're put here to just play and try different things, and some people have different views on that because it's like, oh, this world doesn't allow for that. That depends on what reality you're operating in. If you choose to not want to do something because it's like, oh, I'm not getting paid to do this, so why am I gonna invest so much time in it? That's a really, in my eyes, in my opinion, that's a really sad way to live. But you know what? Go ahead. Nobody's gonna stop you. You can have that if you want to. Okay, I think I kind of know where I'm going with this now. I have a little bit more of a sense of direction. It's slowly, it's coming together. I think this is more with colors. Anyways, in this kind of hustle culture that we live in, it's like, if this isn't making me money, I don't want to invest in it. You know, why would I do something for fun? I have to be making money in this. Like, not everything has to revolve around the hustle. I know it's gonna be hard for some of y'all to say, just listen. You have to enjoy your time on earth too. You know, not everything can be so go. Like, allow yourself time to rest. Please, if you are one of those people, please allow yourself some time to rest, to breathe, to be a human and not a robot. Think about it like this. We come from nothing. Everything in this universe quite literally started from nothing. We are just this energy that has manifested itself into the physical form. And isn't that so beautiful? There's so much power in making something from nothing, from starting with potential. Everything starts with potential at the end of the day. Like, this blank canvas held so many opportunities. I could create anything I want in this. And I'm doing this with this potential that I'm granted. You know, every single moment conceives opportunity to create if you're looking at it that way. Consume art. Consume things that inspire you, that light that spark in you, not dim the light that is in you. You know, we all have it in us. There's just some things that take away from it. You know, again, those things that implement these insecurities into us, or these fears in us, the comparison aspect. You know, there's so much potential in everything, and if there's anything that you take from this video, is that it exists in you. It does, no matter what it is that you think of yourself or your potential or anything, it is there and it is within you. I promise. Find the things that pull it out of you. Do the things that you did when you were a kid. If you liked playing with Legos, get you a Lego set. I don't care if you're 30 or 40 or however old. I don't really know what my demographic is for the people that watch my video, but no matter how old you are, just find it. find the things that bring out that sense of play. And like, people might feel some type of way when you say play, because it's like, Bella, how old are we? I don't care. I still play Guitar Hero and Rock Band and Just Dance and Uno and everything, just because it makes me feel like that version of me that was denied, that was told that I had to suppress these feelings. Like, I remember I told a family member at 19, let's play hide and seek, and they said, Bella, how old are you? I don't care, because those things make you feel alive. It makes you feel so present. It brings you into this state, even though you may not consider it flow, at least it's present moment awareness. It just, things that invigorate you, that invigorate the senses. Even if it's going to try new foods, go and try new foods, cook new foods, look up new recipes. If you have the money to get ingredients in this shitty ass economy, do it. Try things, because there's nothing that can, what's the word? Just try, just attempt it. I don't care. Please just attempt it with no outcome in mind. Don't have an outcome in mind. Don't say that you don't have these expectations for yourself. Do it without expectation. Do it without the outcome in mind. Just do it to do it, because we're human and it's healthy. There's still so much more I want to add to this collage, but I definitely do want to do it off camera, just so I can practice what I preach. But I'm pretty proud of how it's looking so far. Again, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I'm enjoying the process. This is still very lovely to me. Even if it divides the edges, it's going off the edges, it's not filling all of the spaces, you know what? That's still so beautiful. And there's so much freedom in just doing shit for you instead of anybody else, or trying to meet anybody's expectations, or trying to even meet your own expectations. We set very high expectations for ourselves sometimes. Even if you are an artist, if you're a very good artist, sometimes it's like you create something and you feel like you can't be proud of it because this isn't good as my last work, or this isn't this and this and this. Release that need to meet these high expectations. Whenever you first started, were you doing that? When you first picked up whatever it is that you first picked up. When I wrote my first poem, I wasn't doing it with the expectation in mind of, oh, I have to be seen this way whenever I recite this, or oh, this has to be the most beautiful and this has to touch people in this way. No, I was doing it because I'm human, and I had to because there was something in me that made me need to do this, and that is beautiful. It's literally what ties us together. If you can't do it by yourself, get you some friends, get together, have a picnic, and do coloring books, do collaging, do whatever it is. I invite my friends all the time to do coloring books with me, to collage with me, just because it's healthy. You know, if you can't do it by yourself, have a community there that supports you in doing whatever it is that you're doing. It doesn't have to look good. It could look like shit, but enjoy the process. And that's it for my TED Talk today. Yay! I love y'all. I love y'all so much. And I really hope that y'all receive this message well, because I do feel better in sharing it. And yeah, I hope that y'all have a lovely rest of your day, rest of your night, whatever time it happens to be catching you at. Yeah.